Hello everybody. Welcome to Global Hack Week Data Week. And welcome to this session. This is our brand new workshop, Hacking with GitHub Copilot, Meet Your Fifth Teammate, and also known as Intro to Agent Mode. So I'm super excited to present to you our newest workshop. And be sure to check in at this link below. Let me send it real quick. All right, we want to make sure everyone gets their points. By checking in, you will also get access to our GitHub Student Developer Pack expedited approval link, as well as a chance to win some surprise prize at the end. So be sure to check in right now. Since I only have an hour, I'm going to run through some of the intro slides and get right into the meat of our workshop today. So here is the check-in link. Like I said, you'll get fast track access to our GitHub Student Developer Pack. You will get access to GitHub Copilot Pro with premium model access, and also a chance to win some surprise prize at the end. So make sure you check in right now. You also get Global Hack Week's points, of course. And thanks to all of you who have shared your GitHub's URLs in the chat. I went through some of them and they look fire. So I'm super excited to have some both like beginner as well as more experienced hackers in our session today. I'm sure there's something for you to learn regardless of your experience level. And with that, let me just introduce myself real quick. My name is Wei, a coach here at Major League Hacking. My favorite languages are JavaScript and TypeScript. And the fun fact about me is I have coached 25 hackathons. I have a few more coming up, which I will show you actually towards the end, so you'll know which ones I'm going to. Hope to see you there. All right, so let's go through the intro real quick. So as everyone knows, AI has been developing super quickly and rapidly. Learning to use AI now throughout your development workflow is an essential skill. And not everyone is, like a lot of times, like professors in schools, some of them may not allow AI in their coursework or in the schoolwork. So, but don't worry, right? MLH hackathons are the best place to learn AI skills. Also, like events like this, Global Hack Weeks, this is the best place for you to experiment with new things. Everyone is welcome here to learn. Now, who knows what GitHub Copilot is? And give me some things that you have used Copilot for in the past. If you don't mind letting me know in chat. To me, GitHub Copilot is a fully agentic AI pair programmer. It can help you write, debug, and understand code. So in the past, just like over a year ago, coding with AI has really been like tab completions. Sometimes it makes mistakes, very unreliable output. It doesn't have understanding of your whole code base, and it's outdated. But in just like a year's time, GitHub Copilot is now fully agentic. It can write high quality code, and it even has access to a ton of amazing tools and resources outside of the Copilot LLM, the Copilot agent itself, by using MCP servers, which we'll cover shortly in this demo as well. So today we're actually going to be learning by doing. Here is a quick agenda here. We will fork a README for your GitHub profile. We're going to learn what GitHub profile README is and try to create one for ourselves. We're also going to be setting up GitHub and MyMLH MCP servers for live personalized data to feed into the GitHub Copilot agent to create our README. And lastly, we're going to really use GitHub Copilot to enhance our README profile. So that is the quick agenda today. If you have any questions throughout this session, please let me know in chat. Let me switch the banner on the bottom here. And let's get started. So this is the check-in link I shared earlier. Make sure you register and check in. This is how I will know you are attending the event, and you'll be eligible to win a surprise prize at the end. All right. Now, first, let's take a quick look of what a GitHub profile README is. So some of you already shared your GitHub profiles. If you go to their links, you'll see some amazing, like very well-designed profile. This is usually to the right of their GitHub profile. You'll see their username and readme.md that has their profile. So essentially, that is what we're going to be building. Especially in this world, like in this modern like technology world with AI, it is more and more important for us as developers, as hackers, to have a very good online presence, right? So GitHub is where everyone shares their projects and shares their work. So this is the best place to put your profile on the web in addition to your resume. Everyone can take a look at things like little intro about who you are, some of the works that you have been working on, contributions, and maybe information about like what are the different communities that you're involved in, what are your hobbies, and things like that. So think of it as your personal website on GitHub, also serves as your portfolio, resume, etc. So with that, let me go ahead and share this link so everyone can take a look at this documentation later on. GitHub profile README. All right, excellent. It's a little bit long of a link. So let's take a quick look at some of the awesome GitHub profiles on the web. I will share 2 links here, but we'll go through some of them together and make sure you take a note of the ones that you like so that you can copy some of the elements that they have, best practices they have in the profiles as you see. So here is the first link I shared. This webpage has some awesome GitHub profiles with a ton of amazing information, design, elements, widgets, etc. that you can really leverage in your own profile. So you can see some of them have a lot of graphics, a lot of badges, a lot of pictures, maybe like a big picture on the top, maybe some icons for different programming languages and frameworks these hackers like, and badges, more badges, and things like that. So you can definitely take a look through them and see which ones you like. We'll go through them towards the end to really improve our own portfolios, right? Our profile portfolios. This is another GitHub repo that has some of the great collections of different styles of GitHub README profiles, as well as some of the tools that you can use to create them. So those links are towards the end. So we'll go through some of them towards the end, so don't worry. I just wanted to share that so that we know what is available there. Now, for now, I don't have a GitHub profile README. As you can see, I have pinned some repos that I have been working on, but I really don't have any like a profile currently. So let's do it together and create our own GitHub profile. I'm going to share this link here, GitHub README template repository. We have a question in chat right now. Will we learn about MCP in this lecture? Yes, we will learn a little bit about what MCPs are. We're actually going to hands-on integrate with both GitHub MCP as well as MyMLH MCP servers. Thank you for that question. And thanks for checking out my simple resume site project. It's the 3rd one down if anyone is interested. All right. Now, I have shared this repository. Let's just all go to it right now. And you'll see this is a very, very basic skeleton of a GitHub README template. What we're going to do is we will click use this template button on the top right corner here and create a new repository. And just keep in mind that this repository name has to be exactly the same as my username. So in this case, it will be Wei, And here's a little tooltip of GitHub telling us what this repository means to us. And public sounds great to me. And we're going to click Create Repository. It will take a few moments here. And just like that, you can see I now have a repo created under way/way. You should have your own usernames there as well. And now if I go back to my profile and click refresh, you'll see this README is now showing up here. This is very basic right now. We don't have any information in it, but we'll work together to add them. Give me a yes if we're all on track, on the same page. Let me know if you need a little bit more time. Or if you have any questions, please drop them in chat. All right, I appreciate your response. Thank you, thank you. Everybody's following along, excellent. If you already have a template repo, already have a profile repo under your username, you can either make a new one if you want to follow along, or you can just watch me and start improving your own profile that you have. All right, thank you everybody for letting me know. With that, let's take a look. We also have more responses here. Do we just watch the streams and follow along? Yes, you can watch the stream. You can do it live with me or just watch me and then do it afterwards. You can watch the recordings on YouTube after. Okay, excellent. Now, before we continue, I just want to make sure everyone has access to GitHub Student Developer Pack and Copilot Pro that comes with the GitHub Student Developer Pack. If you go to this event right here, this is the checking link I shared earlier, and scroll to the bottom, you'll see two links. You'll see GitHub Student Developer Pack link and a GitHub Copilot link. So GitHub Copilot link talks about what Copilot is. We'll check it in just a little bit here, but make sure you click the GitHub Student Developer Pack link to get access to the pack, essentially. And by using this link, you'll get expedited approval from MLH and GitHub. Now let's just take a quick look at what GitHub Copilot Pro is. This comes free with the GitHub Student Developer Pack, which is amazing. You'll see all the awesome features that comes with, including the agent mode. You also have access to a ton of models, premium models, like you can see here, to use within your projects. And I really like this feature as well. It's Copilot Next Edit Suggestion. As you're editing files inline, it will give you suggestions on what to do. So usually it's $10 a month, but by being a part of GitHub Student Developer Program, you will get this access to this for free. So just let me know if you have any questions on that as well. All right, we do have a few questions here. My school doesn't give IDs. So you can send in your transcript usually that lists your semester and your classes that you're taking. So if you don't have a student ID, that would be one of the documents. But definitely take a look at the list of acceptable documents they have on their website. All right, so here's another question. I have signed in to the Student Developer Pack. Why does GitHub Copilot restrict after a certain limit? Yeah, so there is still a limit. Let's actually take a look together here. Once you activate your Student Developer Pack, if you go under Settings, Copilot, you'll see this screen. Copilot Pro is active for your account, and there's going to be a usage section as well. So I think what you're talking about is you have hit the upper limit of your usage. So unfortunately, there is a cap for how many requests that you can make with the GitHub Copilot Pro, but you can continue to use some of the free models that don't cost any credits, or you can wait till the next month, or you can consider upgrading to a higher tier if you find this tool very useful in your day-to-day workflow. Hope that answers your question. You're not a student. Can you still access GitHub student developer benefits? Unfortunately not. This benefit is here specifically for students, but I just want to say that Copilot has a free tier, which has a generous amount of credits for you to try out the coding agent as well. So you can always sign up for the free Copilot plan there. All right. Cool. Great questions. Keep them coming if you have any. All right, now I will assume you have received Copilot, you have installed Copilot, you have activated it, either the free plan or the pro plan. You can continue following along. Otherwise, you can watch me and revisit the recording. Another question, is it global or regional? So the GitHub Student Developer Pack program is global, so students from around the world are eligible for it. Okay. Sounds good. So now let's continue with our demo here. We have this project way/way already on our on the page here, but I want to open it in my VS Code. So there are a few ways you can do it, but for simplicity, I'm just going to click Code and Local, and I'm going to click Open with Visual Studio. I think this works, so let's try it out. Okay, this might not work, which is a-okay. We can clone this repository directly. Okay. All right, so let's just go to our VS Code window then. That's easy enough. And I'm actually going to select Clone Git Repository button here to get the repository down to my local environment. I will click Clone from GitHub, and I will say way/way, excellent. And I'm going to clone it to my downloads folder. Just as an example, you can put it in any directory of your choice. And once you open the repository, you should see two things on the left. You should see a README and a .vs code folder. So once you see those two files, you know that this repository has been cloned successfully. Let's take a look at chat here. Do you need to complete all the tasks to receive swag? No, you do not have to complete all the tasks to receive swag. Be sure to watch the opening ceremony recording to see how you can receive swag. I think it's also on the website. Oh, thank you for answering. All right, excellent. So now now we have the repository cloned locally. You'll see a few things here. I already have the GitHub Copilot extension installed, but if you haven't, if it's your first time, make sure you click the extensions panel on the left and just search for Copilot. And you can just click on GitHub Copilot and click install. So this will give you the Copilot extension, and it will be installed on the right-hand sidebar of the VS Code editor. Give me a thumbs up if everyone has Copilot installed or have VS Code open for us with the repo. Ready to go? All right. Thank you for the replies. Excellent, excellent. Thanks for letting me know. All right, so let's take a look at the Copilot extension. All right, let me just make it a little bit bigger here, make it a little bit easier. This is the Copilot extension. Previously, we had ask and edit. If you've been to some of our previous Copilot workshops, those are some of the features that we have been working with. But today I'm going to be focusing on the agent mode. With the agent mode, you have access to a list of models, right? You can see on the right here, we have some free models, essentially, that cost 0 credits per request. And we have some more premium models that cost a little bit more. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4, but feel free to try out different models. And I know with the very latest update, they added the auto toggle here to kind of automatically select the best model for your prompt. But for this demo, I'm going to use Claude Sonnet 4. All right, and next up, let's quickly talk about MCP servers. Has anyone heard of MCP servers in the chat? Tell me yes or no. I would love to see, just kind of gauge a little bit about everyone's experience with MCP servers. All right, we got some yeses in the chat. No, we got some beginners who are looking to learn about MCP servers. Excellent, you came to the right place. Before then, let's quickly answer this question. Can we also select a model that's locally available? I believe so. So if you go to Manage Models, you have access to a number of options here. I don't see a local option right here, so I'm not 100% sure, but you can certainly try out models from a ton of different providers, and yeah, definitely check it out. All right, so let's talk quickly about MCP servers. So MCP servers is a component that provides AI agent with tools, external tools, data, and services through a standardized protocol. What does that mean? When you're working with the AI agent, you're just talking with it, right? Make this change, make that change, but the AI agent doesn't have information about your specific use case because this AI LLM is built by a company that trained on public data, right? It doesn't have access to your internal database. It doesn't have access to your personal profile. It doesn't have access to private information, essentially, or tools and information. So MCP server, it's MCP, Model Context Protocol, is a standardized protocol that allows AI agent to interact with third-party services, external services, maybe your private data, your private API, your database, or anything you can think of. So essentially, it is the standard protocol for AI agents. And today, we're actually going to go through installing 2 MCP servers. We'll start with the GitHub MCP server that lets our AI agent talk with GitHub directly. So if you're on VS Code, they made it super easy for you to install MCP servers. You can go to the extensions panel that we saw earlier. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a section called MCP servers. All right, we have Bully in the chat here. Thank you for coming. Highly recommend you stay over right after this session for Bully's session. I will introduce him at the end. All right, so now I'm going to click Browse MCP Servers, and this is the page that pops up. So as you can see, you can connect to tons of tools, developer tools, productivity tools, data and analysis tools, even business services, payment services, cloud services. So there are a ton of things, possibilities that MCP opens us up to. So in this workshop, we're going to first try to install the GitHub MCP server. Could I repeat the last step? Of course. So I went to the extensions panel, and opened up the bottom section, which is called MCP servers, and from which we can see the Browse MCP servers button. So I'm going to just click on that, and you'll see a number of officially recognized MCP servers on this page. And in this example, first example, we're going to install the GitHub MCP server just by clicking Install GitHub. All right, and I'm going to say Open Visual Studio app. I'm going to install. So this is a quick information page about the GitHub MCP server. What are some things it can do for us? So I'm going to just click Install. And now this is asking us to authenticate with GitHub, which I definitely want to do. Continue. Launching. All right. So just like that, we now have our GitHub MCP server installed in our project. So if we hover over it, click on it, you'll see this has been installed and it's actually running. All right. And now you may be asking, like, all right, it says server started, we installed it, but like, how do we really know, right? How do we interact with it? So it's actually super, super easy. You can click this tool button to see all the MCP servers that you have installed. In this case, we have MCP server GitHub, and you can see GitHub has a ton of different tools that's exposed to the AI agent. So I'm just going to ask AI agent a quick question here just to see if it's actually connected to GitHub. I'm going to say get my GitHub profile. So this says working, and then it correctly identified our GitHub MCP server, right? If we open this up, it is actually running get my user profile tool from the GitHub MCP server. And you can see the output that was returned to the AI agent. The AI agent then parsed out that output and created a visual or text representation of my profile. So you can see some of the basic information I have on my GitHub profile. All right, we have a question in chat. It's like an intermediate platform between the LLM and our own services. Exactly. It is like the middleman connecting AI agent to all kinds of services. All right. Give me a thumbs up if we're good to continue. All right. Some of you might need a little bit more time on it. No problem. Okay, we do have some thumbs ups. I appreciate you very much. And once again, like, you can always watch back the recording on YouTube if you would like to follow along in more detail here. So I know my GitHub profile looks all good now. What is the next step? All right, we talked about connecting our AI agent, right? Our Copilot agent here with MyMLH profile as well. So I'm going to head over to MyMLH. This is the website for MyMLH profile. Every one of you should have one for being a part of the MLH community. So I already have some information here about my education, some of the events I've been to, hackathon project count, education, work experience here. Let me just add a work experience right now. I'm going to put Major League Hacking, and I'm going to put coach, maybe Actually, I'm going to put my fellowship experience here. So I'm a open source fellow working on AWS Amplify, and I did it a while back in 2020, right? MLH Fellowship, Open Source Fellow, AWS Amplify. That looks good to me. So just like that, my work experience has been added successfully. Feel free to edit your profile so that it reflects your latest education work experience. We're going to have AI pull this information in order to construct our GitHub profile README. Hello, we have a newcomer. Thank you for joining us. We're just talking about Copilot AI agent and how to use MCP to connect our AI agent with third-party services. All right. If you have been following my GitHub, you might have seen a new project I was working on, which is called, let me see if I can find it, which is called MyMLH MCP server. All right, great. So this is a MCP server that I created myself to connect our VS Code Copilot agent with MyMLH, right? So there are a couple ways you can install it. I provided instructions to, like installing instructions to multiple AI coding tools, but for VS Code, they made it super easy to install. You can either just click this link to install the MyMLH MCP server globally in your system, meaning like any project, any window, VS Code window will be able to access it, or you can go into this project that we created from the template and just change rename me underscore MCP to MCP.json, essentially. So let me go ahead and do that. All right, just like that, we have really installed our MCP server. All right. So the way you know like VS Code has recognized this MCP server is by looking at the line just above the server name, MyMLH. So there is a start button here and a more button. So I'm just going to click start. This is going to open up a window to authenticate, just like GitHub MCP did. All right. And I'm going to say approve. And then MyMLH is going to ask us, do you really want to authorize, and what are the different permissions you want to give it? So I'm going to say my profile, my employment, my education, and public information and offline access. So I'll just keep everything as the default here and click authorize. So this should redirect back to our VS Code window. And you should see running on top of the server name. You didn't understand the last step. Could you please explain again? I'm not sure which step that is. So yeah, let me go back real quick. So we had a file called rename me mcp.json. Essentially, there are two ways to install MCP servers. One way is to install it globally, meaning like you just have all the server installed here, right? If I just click that button, which I showed earlier, this will install the MyMLH MCP server globally. So that regardless of what project you're in, let's say you're working on your homework project, you're working a second project, now you're working on GitHub profile, right? If you install it globally, all those projects will have access. Like if your coding agent is, you're working with the Copilot coding agent there, they will all have access to the MyMLH MCP server. But by specifying the MCP within this project, which I did by just renaming this file, right, called mcp.json. This server is now installed within the project scope. So your homework project, your second project, they won't have access to the MyMLH MCP server. Hope that makes sense. Can I share the GitHub repo link? Of course. So the GitHub repo link for the MyMLH server is right here. You can click on Add MCP server, install MCP button right here to install it globally. It's essentially the same thing, just different scope. Does that make sense? Just drop a message in the chat. Let me know if that makes sense or if you have any other questions. All right. Perfect. So I'm going to start this server one more time. In the past, this has actually resulted in some errors. So let me just try it again. MCP. All right, and then let me just also verify it. Very similar to get my GitHub profile, I can ask the AI to fetch my MLH profile. Fingers crossed. All right, so the Copilot agent is now looking at all the available tool calls it has from GitHub, MyMLH, and all the different built-in tools here, and determining like what is the correct tool to execute get MyMLH profile. And just like that, it is now asking us for permission to execute MyMLH MCP server tool call called MyMLH get user. That sounds good. I'm going to allow it. And behind the scenes, you can see that the Copilot agent has made a request to retrieve our MyMLH profile. And here is a summary of my name, information, work information, including the fellowship experience that I added, education, and some of the other information here. So with that, I have verified both the GitHub MCP server and my MLH MCP servers are working properly. All right, we have 15 minutes left. I'm pretty sure we can get through this, but let's quickly run through the next things I want to talk about. But if you have any questions, please drop them in chat. Thank you for the kind words there. Let me close this window. All right, so this is my README. There's already a template kind of in the format that I prefer. So let me go ahead and just ask AI. I'm going to open a new window. I can continue to chat in this session, and AI will already have the information from both my GitHub profile and my MLH profile. But just to challenge it a little bit, I'm going to open up a whole new window, kind of clearing the history, and I'm going to ask it complete my GitHub profile README using info from my GitHub profile and my MLH profile. Right? By default, like the Copilot agent will have access to the files that are open. So it knows I'm looking at readme.md and I'm looking to edit this file. Right? So it's going to read, actually, if you look through the history here, it created 4 to-do items. It is first reading the current README file, taking a look at the template, the examples. Now it's actually going out to GitHub MCP server and fetched my GitHub MCP, GitHub profile information from the MCP server. See right here. And step 3, it's now requesting to fetch MyMLH profile information. I'll just click allow here. All right, it just fetched all the MyMLH information. And then lastly, it's going to craft a personalized profile README for me using the information from both profiles. That's awesome. Thank you. Is it free? Yes, there are free models that you can use for Copilot free tier. All right, actually I only have access to Claude Sonnet 3.5. So let me just show you real quick. If you go to your settings, you'll see, like, if you have GitHub Copilot Pro and it says it's active, you can scroll down to look at all the different models. Like, some of them are more, are disabled by default, so you just need to make sure you enable all of them. I basically went through and enabled all the models here. So you have 3.5, 3.7, enable, there you go. Claude Sonnet 4, enable. Hope that helps. Sure thing. All right, let's take a look at what the AI has done. Our Copilot agent has successfully completed the GitHub profile README using the information. It got all the information from GitHub, MyMLH, and yeah, that all looks good. And we can actually, for now, I'm just gonna click keep the changes. And as you can see here, it has really filled in all my details and all my information, right? Let me actually click this button here, which will open up the README in a preview mode so we can see what it looks like. Let me just make it a little bit bigger, right here. So we have followers, public repos, website, and a lot of information here. They all look pretty good. They all look pretty good, except I think these needs to be new lines, right? Bullet points. So I can ask AI to fix that. Make location, contact, bullet points, or just make add bullet points where applicable. That's a very short prompt. Let's see how well AI can do. All right, we have a question. I want to build RAG systems. How do I start? Let's answer that question at the end if we have time. All right, perfect. So as you can see, Copilot agent has added bullet points to all the different sections that I would expect. So I'm going to click keep and go back to my preview, and boom, everything looks much nicer now. All right, there are a couple more things I want to add to my profile, right? So there are no projects. I noticed there are no projects. So I'm going to ask our coding agent, please include my most popular GitHub repos and most recent repos I have worked on. All right, so if you look through the history here, it's now going to get my GitHub repositories using the GitHub MCP server right here. And it's then going to get my most recently updated repositories where I have made some contributions. And lastly, it's going to compile that information and pop them onto my profile README. Okay, excellent. So if we go over to preview, you'll see we now have a featured projects section with my most popular repositories and my most recent repositories. So you can continue to iterate with Copilot Coding Agent to do all kinds of things that you want to do without really typing a single character inside your profile README. All right, if you're seeing this, I'm unable to directly fetch. This means you did not install the GitHub MCP server properly. So I would just follow the instructions again to maybe you can uninstall it and reinstall it and make sure you authenticate with it. And then you can test it out using the same thing I did here. So if you open a new session, make sure it's agent mode and just ask get my GitHub profile. If it's able to fetch the profile for you, then you have it installed properly. And just make sure it is the agent mode once again and pick any model. All right, excellent. Excellent. Okay, perfect. So yeah, thank you for getting back to me. Yeah, be sure to use agent mode because the other modes do not have access to MCP servers. It works fine now. Great, I'm happy to hear that. Okay, I'm going to then just show one more thing, one more customization I want to do here is, let me just maybe open a new chat window, new chat session. It's a good practice to kind of start over so that if you're doing something completely different from the previous task, it really helps Coding Agent to have a fresh new session so it doesn't, get confused with the previous context. So I'm going to say add a section about the next hackathons. I will be coaching as an MLH coach. Include, so these are, I'm actually going to 305 hackathon in Miami, BT hacks, Hack the Valley, and AI Roadshow, Austin. So those are some of the events I'm going to, but currently, I don't want to go Google and look for the dates, the location, or the registration links for these events. So I can just ask AI to do it for me. I can say fetch, name, location, dates, registration links, or just links from our MLH events site. And that way, I don't have to do any of that. I'm going to hit send, and let's see what it does. All right, it's asking us to for permission to fetch the MLH events page, allow here, and just like that, it has found information for all hackathons I'll be coaching, and it's actually adding a section for all these events. Keep. And we can actually look at the preview here. You can see all these events are now shown on the page on my GitHub profile. All right, that's as much customizations as I'll do for now, just in the interest of time. Does everything look good to you? Let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'm going to commit and push this change over to my repository. And here's one other feature, like one of my favorite features of GitHub Copilot. That is this little thing, generate commit message. And that looks good, and commit. Looks like I need to configure my username and email still, since this is a pretty new machine. Let's do that right now. So open git log, terminal, git config -- global or something like that. You can tell me if I'm wrong. And then git config global user.email git, and then I will commit one more time. All right, it worked. And push. So I just click commit and I click push. This change should now be live on my GitHub profile. So if I go to my profile, if I go to my homepage here, or this is the repo here, I'm going to refresh, and you can see my profile is now live. There's one more thing I want to do, add my profile picture to the top. So I'm going to say add my GitHub profile picture to the top. Okay, taking a little bit of time. Okay, that all looks good. I'm going to stage and commit this and push. All right, and then come back and refresh. And just like that, I have my profile picture, I have my badges, I can play with the alignment later, and I have my profile. And if I go to my homepage here, github.com/way, you can see my full profile here. All right. And the last thing I want to show you real quick, kind of just squeezing a little bit, is I want to enable GitHub Pages. This is literally like 2 clicks. I can click GitHub Pages, deploy from GitHub Actions, and afterwards, this GitHub README will be deployed as a website, and you will be able to see this at your URL, way.github.io. You'll see the exact same README, and you can use that as your profile website. In the interest of time, I won't show that right now. All right. So let me just start wrapping up here. Make sure you remember to check in at this event link. You will get fast track access to GitHub Student Developer Pack. You will get access to GitHub Copilot Pro with premium model access and a chance to win surprise prize, which is happening right now. So while I'm doing the recap, here is the challenge. Please comment one thing you thought was cool, or something you learned, or something you found useful in this session. So I will pick a random winner at the end. So without further ado, I'm going to just do a quick recap of everything we've done. So throughout this session, we first learned what GitHub profile READMEs are, right? We started setting up our GitHub profile README. We got access to our GitHub Student Developer Pack and Copilot Pro, and opened up our VS Code and Copilot to install the Copilot extension, installing all the MCP servers, both the GitHub MCP server and MyMLH MCP server. And we used Copilot AI agent to help us craft a brand new GitHub profile README. And lastly, we learned about how we could deploy that README to GitHub Pages so that you have a URL you can share with your friends and put it on your resume. With that, let's take a look at what everybody learned this Global Hack Week, at this Global Hack Week session. So, yep, we can use Claude models now. Excellent. MLH MCP server was cool. I learned about MCP servers, what they are, how to operate, and how to use MCP servers. All right, that is excellent. So let me close my eyes and scroll and pick a winner. There's no bias here. I really appreciate everybody who has commented and stayed till the end. So Did I click one? No. Try again. Click. Still no. All right, I'm gonna actually click this time. Okay, we got one. So congratulations, RM Ronald, 65. You have won a surprise prize at this workshop. Please open a ticket with this screenshot saying that Wei has given you a surprise prize, and the MLH team will ship you some amazing swags. All right. With that, we're towards the end here. Please let me know how you like this session at the feedback link. If you go to this URL, just head over to the drop-down here and select Intro to Agent Mode in GitHub Copilot. This is my first time running this workshop. This is a very great experience for me. But if you have any feedback whatsoever about this session, how we can make it even better for you, make it more useful, please let me know. And with that, we have Bully with us happening right now, Intro to Pandas and CSVs. Be sure to stay tuned for Bully's session. This will be fire. With that, if you have any questions, just message me on Discord under Data Week channel, and we'll be sure to get those addressed. All right, happy hacking, everybody. Thank you.